In the first segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything.
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. Woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and
migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate.
We're all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Bill Maher didn't just disagree with Sunny Hostin. He surgically dismantled her entire argument and torched the Hollywood woke machine for good measure. His takedown was so sharp, so precise, that the audience sat in stunned silence. And here's the twist. Both Maher and Hostin come from the left. In theory, they should be allies, but Maher has tossed the woke handbook into the shredder, making it crystal clear where he stands, and it's nowhere near the activist echo chamber.
First segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything, and I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
So what did Maher say that sent Hollywood's woke aristocracy into a full-blown existential spiral? And what does this high-voltage clash reveal about the internal battle tearing through the modern left? Buckle up, we're breaking it all down. And believe me, you won't want to miss a second of it.
If I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for an organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
Bill Maher recently appeared on The View to promote his latest book, and what was expected to be...
Maher recently appeared on The View to promote his new book, expecting a simple press stop. What he got instead was a televised showdown. Rather than playing nice, Maher went scorched earth, leaving jaws on the floor as he turned the woke script against itself. It all ignited when Sunny Hostin asked why he was weaponizing the term woke. She thought she had him cornered. What followed was anything but predictable.
It struck me that in the first segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything, and I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized, and so I was surprised to hear you use the term, because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and
migrate.
So why is that a bad...
Hostin thought she was delivering a checkmate, framing Maher as a liberal traitor attacking his own. But Maher saw the ambush coming. He didn't flinch. Instead, he called out the tired strategy of twisting language and moralizing your opponent into a corner. He refused to let the woke mob drag him into their rhetorical quicksand.
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want, because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know. Want to call it the super far left?
Maher's opening move, a masterful sidestep. He explained that language evolves, and the term woke has morphed beyond recognition. He didn't reject the term's origin. He simply refused to let it be weaponized by ideologues. Hostin expected to see him stumble under accusations of hypocrisy. Instead, she walked straight into his rhetorical bear trap. He flipped the narrative, forcing her to defend the very contradictions she tried to expose.
Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
Too dark.
Well, maybe it is, but it's true. I mean, you know, if I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for an organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty.
Let's pause there, because Maher, a lifelong liberal, drew the line when he saw self-proclaimed progressives sympathizing with Hamas. That's when even he said, enough. While some woke warriors criticize Israel for simply existing, Maher called out the double standard. You can't preach equality while applauding groups that suppress basic human rights.
I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war's on. I mean, before the war. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv. a place that has your value.
Let's be honest, most of the View's cast, Hostin included, would choose to live in Israel over Palestine in a heartbeat. Israel, for all its flaws, shares democratic values and personal freedoms. Palestine, on the other hand, enforces strict laws that often strip women of autonomy. Maher spotlighted the uncomfortable truth. The same people shouting about injustice wouldn't last a week under the regimes they defend. The irony was impossible to ignore.
I mean, women have no, this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights in this place and a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. There is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from harassment.
The LGBTQ community as well. Yes.
That too. But you throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens. At best.
Then came Maher's knockout punch. He called out the hypocrisy of defending countries where women are silenced and punished, while vilifying democracies that, though imperfect, offer real freedom. He challenged the panel to hop on a plane and experience life under the governments they champion. The studio fell silent. Hostin and the rest reached for their fallback. We're just observers. But Maher wasn't playing. He pressed forward, undeterred.
About the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women.
Of course.
And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Realizing she'd lost ground, Hostin scrambled for a new angle. She tried to cast Maher as someone condoning violence, an emotional appeal designed to tarnish his character. It was a textbook woke pivot. When logic fails, smear your opponent's morals. But Maher saw it coming from miles away. He fired back with a surgical rebuttal that dismantled her strategy in real time.
It's ridiculous, but because they're defending themselves. Now, do you think Hamas needs to be...
Hostin was clearly grasping. After losing the argument on principle, she tried to assassinate Maher's character. But again, he didn't blink. He countered with a brutal takedown that reduced her narrative and the entire woke playbook to ashes. Maher wasn't just making a point. He was giving a masterclass in how to demolish dishonest rhetoric.
Is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how do we get that with a ceasefire?
All right. So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. Okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community and they spent it on bombs and building tunnels.
By this point, Hostin was visibly shaken as Maher let loose with a barrage of truth bombs. But the show was far from over. You could see the tension on her face. This wasn't going her way, and she knew.
Let's see what explosive gem he drops next.
So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli... Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a... Here's a way to stop that. Stop it, Israel.
Then came the moment. Maher, calm as ever, dropped a final truth bomb. The audience erupted, except for Hostin, who sat frozen like someone had pulled the rug from beneath her. Maher's takedown was so complete that even the show's left-leaning panel had to acknowledge his points with reluctant applause. And just when it looked like he might be wrapping up, Whoopi lobbed a final question about media bias. Maher's response, absolute gold.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's narrative over truth. You know,
Yes.
I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half.
Maher rebranded the woke crusade as the narrative of truth, but he made it clear that the movement doesn't care about truth at all. It's about control. Debate is unwelcome. Dissent is punished. And anyone who dares to challenge the groupthink gets canceled. That's why Maher won't touch woke ideology with a 10-foot pole. It's a facade built to mask authoritarian impulses. The crowd felt the shift. Even a few conservatives nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, Hostin looked like she'd seen a ghost.
Old school liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives, there's still some of those
You've
left.
changed, though.
Wait, what are the other two?
Go ahead.
Well, that's what I well, that's what I was trying to find out in this book. I don't think I have. And you know, we were saying in the break, we have to come up with a new word for woke. Let's have a contest, because this is a word that's triggering. But I mean, those concepts that are different than they were 5 years ago.
Maher laid out his position plainly. He's an old-school liberal, not a blind follower of ideological trends. True liberalism, he said, involves action, not pity disguised as virtue. As an example, he explained that real progressives want to house the homeless. The woke left, by contrast, insists we tolerate people living on the streets while punishing anyone who raises concerns. It's not compassion. It's cruelty wrapped in political correctness.
Was a term that I thought we kind of came up with, because people were calling them bums and vagrants and hobos.
Yeah, now that's
homeless.
good.
Now, no.
It's unhoused.
Well, it's people experiencing homelessness. But they're experiencing it on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, the liberal view of that was, for compassion's sake, we're the liberals, we're compassionate. Let's get these people off the street. That's not the view of the, whatever word we're going to come up with for this. Their view of the homeless is they're an endangered species that needs to be protected in their natural habitat, living their best life under a bridge.
Maher's sharp wit and fearless delivery stunned the room. Viewers applauded his takedown, with many calling it the most effective dismantling of the woke narrative they'd ever seen. Some pointed out the hypocrisy of the View crew, demanding balance from the media while never presenting dissenting opinions on their own show. Others zeroed in on Hostin's gaslighting tactics, accusing her of putting words in Maher's mouth. What was supposed to be a routine book promo turned into a full-blown reckoning. Maher didn't just survive the ambush, he dominated it.
Just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
I know.
But Trump doesn't present that way. You know, you look at somebody right away, you can kind of just sum them up. I mean, we are not young, but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he's cadaver.
And then came the cherry on top. Maher took a subtle jab at President Biden, questioning whether he's truly fit to lead or just a placeholder for the Democratic machine. It was a burn so sharp, it bordered on brutal, comparing Biden to a lifeless figurehead while the real operators work behind the curtain. Maher's appearance wasn't just an inconvenience for the woke brigade, it was a 5-alarm fire. By the time he dropped his final line, Hostin looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Her arguments were gone. The woke narrative was in ruins.